Diamond P Sports presents championship drag racing from the National Hot Rod Association. The Gatornationals. Brought to you by Fram, makers of oil, air, and fuel filters, windshield wipers, and Autolite spark plugs and tune-up kits. And by English Leather, toiletries for men. Ask for English Leather and fine toiletry counters everywhere. And by Kodak, whose fine cameras and film help you save all your good times in pictures. The final qualifying attempt for Shirley Muldowney, the world champion. An exploding engine, and the world champ not in the program at the Gatornationals. Proof positive, there's no sure thing in the sport of championship drag racing except excitement, and we've got it for you at the Gatornationals. Shirley Muldowney having a trouble-plagued weekend, capping it in her final qualifying attempt, and Shirley is a bit upset. Billy Monzel in the first round of modified eliminator suffered some parts breakage in his Corvette. Round and round he goes. Where he stops, only Billy knows. A great driving job by both Billy and his competitor minimized damage to only the parts breakage in Billy Monzel's Corvette. The true damage goes to Billy's ego and to his pocketbook for the parts breakage. Andy Manarino, pro stock driver, a horrendous 147-mile-an-hour crash in his Mustang II Pro Stocker. Manarino was hospitalized. The good word is, Andy, back at the races, only minor cuts and bruises. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and the excitement reigns supreme at this 9th annual NHRA Gatornationals. Over 600 race cars on tap. We'll be bringing you all the excitement, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Simmons gets a Dear John letter from his girl, so he takes it out on the Major's car. Starts by breaking 3 spark plugs. Do I give him extra duty? No. I give him Autolite spark plugs. Autolite insulators are 50% stronger than the best-selling plug. So they're less likely to crack and make your car run wrong. So strong that even Simmons can't break them. But heaven knows, he tries.
Autolite and Fram are Bendix companies.
I think women are becoming a little more frightening to men these days. Maybe because we're freer to do much more. But some men aren't intimidated at all. They enjoy our freedom. Those are the men I like. And you know, those are the men who wear English leather cologne. English leather fits the way they live. It's so clean and natural, and I love it. So all my men wear English leather, or they wear nothing at all.
Look for English leather in a wide selection of gift sets.
Coming or going on a business trip, you've got no time to waste. And nobody knows that better than Hertz. Whether it's picking up or dropping off your Ford or other fine car, nobody has more to do it faster.
Go, okay, go! Getting you out with super speed. Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car. Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car.
You know it.
The final eliminations for the 9th annual NHRA Gatornationals just a few moments away. Working with me throughout this event will be Steve Evans. Steve is in the pits right now. Let's check in with him.
Dave, talking to the drivers in the pit area, especially in the lower classes, it's pretty much business as usual. A well-prepared car, good driver reactions, means a chance to win. In Top Fuel and Funny Car, though, it's another ball game. They feel it will be a day of finesse. If the driver reels out more horsepower than necessary to win, he's liable to smoke the tires. If that happens, no doubt he'll be beaten. Tremendous weather. It's just perfect for this great 9th annual Gatornationals.
The first cars we'll see this afternoon, Top Fuel dragsters, the kings of the sport. Let's meet some of the drivers.
Hi, I'm Kelly Brown from Tarzana, California.
Richard Tharp, Dallas, Texas.
Hello, I'm Marvin Graham from Oklahoma City. I'm Graham Light, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Hi, I'm Big Daddy Don Garlitz, and I'm from Seffner, Florida.
My name's Frank Bradley. I'm from Napa, California.
My name's Gordon Fabeck, and I'm from Brush Prairie, Washington.
The first pair of cars in Top Fuel Eliminator from DeWitt, Michigan, Dick LaHaye. That's with LaHaye, the low qualifier at the Gator Nationals, Kelly Brown, driving the Brissett and Drake car from Tarzana, California. Kelly Brown, the man that won the Winter Nationals Championship just about a month ago out in Pomona, California, now the #1 qualifier here at the Gator Nationals. Both cars coming into the staging beams at the starting line. And Kelly Brown building a big lead in the middle of the course. Kelly Brown winning at 6.00 second elapsed time, duplicating his qualifying time with a speed of 240 miles an hour. Dale Thier, Whitehall, Pennsylvania, driving for the team of Jim and Allison Lee against the former world champion, Richard Tharp of Dallas, Texas. He drives for the team of Candice and Hughes out of Houma, Louisiana. Dale Thier with a slight lead off the starting line. Here comes Tharp, and it's Richard Tharp winning it by inches. 6.31 seconds for Tharp to a quicker 6.29 second for Thier. Tharp's speed 242 miles an hour to the losing 229. Bob Struckness from Minot, North Dakota. In the far lane, his competition, Clayton Harris out of Bolton, Alabama. Clayton Harris with a big lead at the finish line by over a car length, defeating Bob Struckness. 6.27 second elapsed time, his speed 227 miles an hour. Coming from behind, Clayton Harris defeating Bob Struckness, who had a faster speed, 230 miles an hour. Here in slow motion, you see Clayton Harris beginning to make his move and pulling away from Bob Struckness as they go into the finish line, a little over a car length, the parachute beginning to deploy. Johnny Abbott from Denver, Colorado in the far lane. Ron Barrow, a new driver. This only the 6th run ever in a Top Fuel car for Ronnie Barrow from Pottstown, Pennsylvania, driving for Neil Moss. A big lead for Johnny Abbott. And something going wrong, and Ron Barrow slipping by just at the finish line. Barrow takes the win, 6.22 second elapsed time. That's the amount of time it takes to go from the starting line to the finish line in a quarter-mile drag race. Here in slow motion, you see Abbott pulling away at the start. In the middle of the course, he's got a big lead, and then the motor goes away, and Ron Barrow comes past at 229 miles an hour. The NHRA Safety Safari crew checking over the track as the next pair get ready to go. Bill Selly, driving Dale Shane's car from Lawrence, Kansas, having his problems getting the engine fired. His competition, Graham Light, having completed his burnout out of Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada, being pushed back to the starting line. And Bill Selly, a tough break for him, qualified very well into this strong Gator Nationals field, unable to get the engine to start, so Graham Light will get a single in the first round of competition here at the Gator Nationals. Graham Light shutting it off early, only runs 6.84 seconds. His speed 173 miles an hour, saving the wear and tear on the parts until round number 2 when he has a tougher race. The competition extremely strong. 16 cars making the first round of Top Fuel Eliminator. Paul Longnecker from Arcanum, Ohio against Gordon Fabeck, Brush Prairie, Washington. Longnecker, one of the interesting drivers in Top Fuel Eliminator, one of the few drivers ever to have driven a super stock car. A few years ago, earlier in his career, Longnecker drove a 1957 Chevrolet station wagon in super stock Eliminator. Today, Paul Longnecker sits behind the wheel and in front of 2,000 horsepower in the Kings of the Sport Top Fuel Eliminator. Both cars coming into the staging beams. Those are the light beams across the starting line indicating that both cars are set to go. Buster counts, the starter throws the switch, and the race is on to the finish line. Paul Longnecker with a motor explosion by Paul Longnecker. He wins the race, but the motor exploding into pieces. You saw the supercharger bouncing down the track. Here in slow motion, let's watch again. A puff of flame comes out as the motor explodes and the supercharger coming off the car, running right alongside Paul Longnecker. He's going 195 miles an hour at this point. You saw him win the race over Gordon Fabeck. The supercharger bouncing down track as Paul Longnecker goes into round number 2, but he's got a lot of work to do. The defending Gatornationals champion, Don Big Daddy Garlitz of Seffner, Florida. Garlitz, in fact, a two-time winner of this event, having taken Top Fuel Eliminator back in 1972. The Gatornationals now in its 9th year, over $250,000 in cash and awards. Over 600 race drivers from all over the United States and Canada started qualifying here 3 days ago, leading to final eliminations where only the best make the final. Don Garlitz qualified number 2, right behind Kelly Brown. His competition, Frank Bradley from Napa, California, former Winter Nationals champion. And Don Garlitz not to be headed from wire to wire. It is Garlitz winning the race. 6.16 second elapsed time. His speed 238 miles an hour. The home state crowd of Floridians loving it as their hero, Big Daddy Don Garlitz, wins the race. Marvin Graham of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma in the near lane against Hank Johnson from Marysville, Washington. Here in slow motion, we see the burnout by Marvin Graham. All cars do burnouts. The purpose, to heat the tires. They're designed to work at the highest temperature possible to provide the ultimate in traction. The crew in hot pursuit to push Marvin Graham back to the starting line. Marvin, a television repairman a few years ago, now a professional racer, won the 1974 National Championship. Hank Johnson with problems, the motor losing fire after the burnout, the crew pushing him back to an area where they can clear Marvin Graham to allow him to make a single run. Hank Johnson not too happy with this turn of events. It's not been a good weekend for Hank. Had trouble getting into the program, actually came in as an alternate. He was the number 17 qualifier. Crew and Hank moving back behind the guardrail as Marvin Graham stages his car to make the single run. And Marvin not shutting it off early, goes 6.26 second elapsed time. His speed 237 miles an hour. Hank Johnson dejectedly getting ready to push his car off the track, as we'll be back with more action from the Gatornationals.
Sooner or later, they all come to me, some of them regrettably before their time. If you want to keep your car from coming to me prematurely, look after it. Change the oil regularly and put in a Fram oil filter when you're supposed to. It could help keep your engine from coming to grief. The choice is yours. See me now or see me later.
Fram and Autolite are Bendix companies.
Doesn't the country need Howard? Here, pretend you're a farmer.
These are times of your life to remember.
And smile.
In pictures. To help make those pictures look their best, ask for Kodak paper behind them. And remember, using Kodak film doesn't mean you automatically get Kodak paper. So look for these words. Look for this sign when you get your pictures developed and get them on Kodak paper for a good look.
Howie, who took this one?
Light beer from Miller tastes just great, and that's no fish story. But the best thing is, it's less filling. Light's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer, And that's important when you're trying to land that big one. Like yesterday, I hooked this bass, fought him for over 6 hours. All of a sudden, he jumps clean over the boat. Broke my rod, and I had to tie the... No, wait a minute, fellas. I had to tie the line
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Left me out there with nothing but a paddle.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular presents live the WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship with Victor Galindez defending his title against the #1 contender, Yaki Lopez. That's next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Wheeling a full-bodied car at speeds upwards of 160 miles an hour can be quite a handful. Let's meet some of the drivers of the factory hot rods called Pro Stock.
Hi, I'm Gordy Rivera, and I run Pro Stock, and I'm from Yuma, Arizona.
I'm Dino Don Nicholson from Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm Frank Iaconio from Totowa, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Wally Booth from Berkeley, Michigan.
Warren Johnson from Fridley, Minnesota, the Chevrolet Camaro. Johnson races Lee Shepard driving the Rare and Morrison car based in Arlington, Texas. This is the second round of Pro Stock Eliminator. They leave the line together, but Warren Johnson beginning to build a little bit of a lead in the middle of the course. Something going wrong with Lee Shepard's car. Warren Johnson taking the win. 8.71 seconds, his speed 156 miles an hour. The next pair finished number 1 and 2 in the world last year. Here's Bob Glidden. His Ford Pinto, the #2 car in the World Championship chase. His competition, a world champion, Dino Don Nicholson. Nicholson at the age of 50, winning the biggest title of his career. Here it's Bob Glidden winning at 8.59 seconds, 151 miles an hour. In slow motion, we see the big win for Glidden. Several car lengths lead over the world champion. Larry Lombardo driving for Bill Grumpy Jenkins. A Chevrolet Monza, small block Chevrolet engine. Against Gordy Rivera from Yuma, Arizona, another Chevrolet Monza. Lombardo already staged. Here comes Rivera into the staging beams. Together they leave the starting line. Larry Lombardo with lots of top-end horsepower, 8.68 seconds. His speed, 156 miles an hour, as the final pair of this round #2 Pro Stock eliminations comes out of the burnout area. Frank Iaconio, qualified #2 in the 16-car field, against the American Motors AMX of Wally Booth. Booth winning this event in 1974. Iaconio having yet to win an NHRA national title. The wheels bouncing off the pavement as Iaconio pulls a bit of a lead right at the start. And that's just enough to hold on for the win. Here in slow motion, Frank Iaconio over Wally Booth. You can see just how close it was. The fiberglass fantastics called funny cars. 240 miles an hour, sitting behind 2,000 horsepower. The drivers are a breed unto themselves.
Hi, I'm Trip Shoemaker, Phoenix, Arizona.
Gordy Bonham, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Hi, I'm Gary Bergen. I'm from Orange County, California.
I'm Don Perdone. I'm from Granada Hills, California.
I'm Dale Poldy from Van Nuys, California.
The world champion, Don the Snake Prudhomme, alongside Gary Bergen from Stanton, California. Gary Bergen, the 1976 national champion in funny car eliminator, refers to himself as the Orange Baron, a bit of play on words with his home area of Orange County, California. Don Prudhomme has been the ultimate star of funny car eliminator. for the past 4 to 5 years. He won this event in 1974, 75, and 76. He is the 3-time world champion and the reigning world champ. Don Prudhomme against Gary Bergen, round number 2 at the Gatornationals. Here we see the Christmas tree facing all the drivers. As they approach the starting line, first comes on the pre-stage light as they cross the light beam. The cars then roll forward into the staging beams. That means it's time to go. Gary Bergen, lots of smoke. The car losing traction. It's Don Prudhomme from start to finish. 6.42 seconds. His speed, 232 miles an hour. Gary Bergen smoking the tires violently and losing the race just as he leaves the starting line. The brand new car of Cheryl Greer from Warner Robins, Georgia. And what a beautiful machine this is. Greer was number 2 in the world in 1976, debuting this new machine here at the Gatornationals. Gordy Bonin from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, driving a similar car. The bodies both Trans Am Firebirds. Bonin, the defending champion at this event, winning a year ago, had the misfortune of having a fuel line break during qualifying and actually popped the windshield out of the car. Thus, you see the tape over the windshield on Gordy Bonin's car, and that's holding it in place. And as you're going down the track at over 200 miles an hour, air pressure helps hold it in, along with the tape. Cheryl Greer and Gordy Bonin both staged. Bonin pulling a lead at the early start of the race, holds on at the finish. Gordy Bonin running 234 miles an hour to defeat Cheryl Greer. Coming back from his burnout, a true work of art. These funny cars with the broad expanse of fiberglass panels, allowing the creativity of the artist and the layout man to create some of, without a doubt, the most beautiful equipment ever seen anywhere. Show cars, but yet they run 230 miles an hour plus. Johnny Loper's Little Hoss with Trip Shoemaker's wheel in the far lane, Dale Poldy and the War Eagle in the near lane. A close race. And at the finish line, it's Dale Poldy, 6.37 seconds, 234 miles an hour. The losing elapsed time, 6.44 seconds. In slow motion, Poldy wins this race by just about a car length. '23-year-old Billy Meyer, the only car he's ever driven in competition is a funny car. He started at the age of 16. He's now 23, has been a professional racer from 16 to 23 years of age. Alongside of Billy Meyer is Tim Cushy, the Yankee Sizzler. Massachusetts is out of control as he leaves the starting line. Billy Meyer shutting it off early. You can see some smoke coming out of the car, some problems possibly. 6.91 seconds, 192 miles an hour in slow motion. You see Tim Cushy bouncing all over the track, losing traction and losing the race. Emergency crew out cleaning up just a little bit of moisture or oil that has dripped on the track. Let's go down to Steve Evans.
Thank you, David. One of the most colorful parts of this Gatornationals pits is the manufacturer's midway behind us. With me is Wally Parks. And Wally, this is proof positive of the involvement of so many performance and automotive companies in the sport of drag racing. Just how are they involved and what impact does it have?
Well, there's no question about the fact that the participation of the manufacturers who are our sponsors have probably done more to help the development and advancement of the sport from just an amateur activity into a very highly professional field of entertainment and performance. The manufacturers that you see represented among the tents and the signs around here are involved in major sponsorship programs, and their contributions are made directly to the racers. The contingent awards that they post based on the product use on the thing has made it possible for an awful lot of racers not only get into drag racing, but to stay in the sport.
And it's fun for the fans, too. They're having a ball visiting with these people and picking up literature and so forth.
Yes, I think the manufacturer's Midway has added a whole new atmosphere to the sport because the people in drag racing can go through the pits, they can roam through here and actually see the products and talk to the manufacturers, as well as circulating among the racers out here. As far as the dollar value is concerned, why, our awards have climbed to over $4 million this year in total postings, and this includes manufacturers' contingent awards and the event purses, which normally range from $70,000 to over $100,000 per event.
Well, congratulations on a great race, and let's hope that this grows in the future, too, Wally.
Thanks, Steve. It's going real well so far.
David?
Steve, we'll be back with more Gator Nationals racing in just a moment.
I'm Shirley Muldowney. All my life I wanted to be the world's fastest racing driver. Well, I made it. Made a few men nervous, too. But others understood. They weren't threatened. They rooted for me. Men like that are pretty special. Their English leather cologne is pretty special, too. English leather has a fresh, masculine scent that doesn't have to prove anything, and neither do the men who wear it. That's why all my men wear English leather, or they wear nothing at all.
What? Tug McGraw out of shape? They're nuts. I'm tough as nails.
They mean chic-shape, Tug. Chic-shape.
Get clean, get close, get comfort too. Get your face in chic shape.
Only Schick's Super 2 twin blades are Schick Sharp for incredibly close, clean shaves.
Great shape, Tug.
That's chic shape.
That's Schick Super 2.
Next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 3-on-3 features Pat Boone leading David Thompson and Jerry Lucas against Marvin Gaye's team of Phil Chenier and Zelmo Beatty. That's 3-on-3 next Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Day and night, mile after mile, we put 40,000 miles on a set of Sears road handlers and went on to run the route of the Pony Express from Missouri to California. Road Handler, Sears' best steel-belted radio. It's the tire that ran 40,000 miles and then took on the rugged route of the Pony Express. Wide radial design, double steel belting. The Road Handler, from the home of the radials, Sears.
From Gainesville, Florida, the 9th annual NHRA Gatornationals, I'm Dave McClelland, and along with Steve Evans, we're back into racing with the second round of Top Fuel Eliminator. We started the day with 16 cars in this category. Here in round number 2, we're down to 8. This is Kelly Brown sitting in front of the Donovan aluminum racing engine. His competition, Richard Tharp at the wheel of the Candies and Hughes car. His automobile powered by a Keith Black racing engine. Both drivers inching into the staging means the staging process, one that is done ever so delicately. Each driver has a place on the track that he wants to be, and he very gently brings his 2,000 horsepower dragster into those staging beams to get ready for the race. Kelly Brown with no tire smoke. You see Richard Tharp, the tires losing traction, but a lot of piston smoke out of Kelly Brown's car. That means some work for his team, the Brissett and Drake crew, back in the pits. Another 6 seconds flat elapsed time. The speed for Kelly Brown, 224 miles an hour. Graham Light from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, was to have met Paul Longnecker. Longnecker unable to return. You saw the blower explosion in round number 1. So Graham Light, for the first time of this entire event, gets to run in the right-hand lane. And this could be a factor because the lowest elapsed time of the preceding round determines who gets lane choice in the next round of racing. And Graham Light drives it to the finish line, 6.07 seconds, an outstanding time for Light, which means he may have the lane choice when he comes up into round number 3. Don Garlitz from Sefner, Florida. An interesting story here. His competition is Ron Barrow, driving for Neil Marr from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Ron Barrow, 1 year ago, was the crew chief for Don Garlitz. Today, it is the teacher and the student. A little bit of smoke out of Don Garlitz's tires, but with a big victory, Don Garlitz advances to the next round. Ron Barrow in this race only because Don Garlitz provided some parts and pieces and actually helped work on his competitor's car so Ron Barrow could make it into this round of racing. Marvin Graham from Oklahoma City against Clayton Harris. Harris removing his fire gloves, and he throws up his hands. He says, that's it for the day, and it's Marvin Graham opting not to make a full run. So it's obvious whoever the competitor for Marvin Graham is in the next round of racing will have the lane choice. Clayton Harris shutting the engine off, obviously having some mechanical problems. Marvin Graham coasting through the traps, taking the early turn off and running 53 miles an hour. There are 5 categories of sportsman competition here at the Gatornationals. Stock Eliminator is ready for the final round. Gary Long from Corona, Michigan, the 29-year-old Long, winner of the Sports Nationals Stock Eliminator title, will be on hand. Diamond P Sports will be covering the Sports Nationals. Jerry Dover, Jr., 16 years old from Houma, Louisiana, started driving at the age of 15. He's been in drag racing now for 2 years. Stock Eliminator, handicap racing. One car getting the physical head start over the other. The handicap based on the index for each of the respective classes. You see Dover, the slower of the 2 classes, getting the head start. If you run quicker than the index, you can lose, even though you might get there first. And Jerry Dover there first, but the win goes to Gary Long as Jerry Dover, by 6/1000ths of a second, breaks out, giving the win to Long. Here's the final in Super Stock Eliminator. Cotton Perry in the far lane from Ringgold, Georgia. Charlie Taylor in the tower lane from Lumberton, North Carolina. Approaching the finish line, it's the same situation here. A close race, and Cotton Perry wins the race, 11.52 seconds. His speed, 114 miles an hour. In slow motion, let's watch again. A very slight advantage going to Charlie Taylor. Cotton Perry winning as Taylor breaking out at the finish line. Some $9,000 in cash and awards going to the 30-year-old Cotton Perry as he wins the race. Charlie Taylor going too quick on the index for his class. This is Modified Eliminator. Phil Pyle from Clarksboro, New Jersey. In the Chevrolet Camaro, his competition, Ross Gherkin out of New York, New York. The head start to Pyle. He leaves the line on time. So does Gherkin. Look at Gherkin drift off towards his guardrail, but he brings the Corvette back under control. This is no breakout, and it's Ross Gherkin there first. He wins the race, 9.97 seconds, 138 miles an hour, some $9,000. Richer is Ross Gherkin as we watch in slow motion. Gherkin driving around Philip Pyle just about at the finish line. 1 car length victory. $9,000 to Ross Gherkin. The final in competition eliminator. The 6-cylinder roadster of Joe Williamson against the dragster of John Lingenfelter. Williamson won this event in 1975. He's going to have to hold on. He did it. Joe Williamson with the win, 8.76 seconds. His speed, 152 miles an hour out of the 6-cylinder engine. A little over a half-second head start, it appears, going to Williamson. You see in slow motion how close this race is. Right there, less than a half a car length. Joe Williamson winning competition eliminator at $8,500. This now the final in the top of the line in the sportsman category racing. Bogey Kell, the wheel of the supercharged Donovan-powered dragster, running on alcohol. In the far lane, Dale Hall from Granby, Connecticut. Hall's car powered by a small block Chevrolet. One of the older style dragsters using the front engine position. In Pro Comp racing, this is just like the professionals in that it is one amber light, then green. And something going wrong with Dale Hall. Bogey Kell taking the win. The first major event victory for the Attila, Alabama-based driver. 6.93 seconds. His speed, 204 miles an hour. One man's name has been synonymous with Top Fuel drag racing for over 2 decades. He is a home state Floridian. He is entered here at the Gatornationals. Steve has that story.
The engine in every top fuel dragster sits behind the driver. It's there because 8 years ago, one man said, that's where it belongs, and sure enough, that's where it ended up. He's Big Daddy Don Garlits, the winningest top fuel driver in drag racing history. But Don, it wasn't always custom-built trailers and fancy racetracks, was it?
No, Steve, it all started out back in the early 50s on airstrips.
Got a 3-window coupe that's short on looks, but she looks real good in the record books. I hold the track record in the quarter mile with a low ET down the asphalt aisle.
The truth of the matter is, it was just a bunch of young guys racing on the street, and then, you know, we later got airstrips with the help of the National Hot Rod Association. You know, they would convince the city fathers that that was the safest way to get these young fellas off the street, and it was just kind of little old Fords with Mercury motors in them, and everybody just racing and having a lot of fun. No spectators or anything.
We look back at Swamp Rat number 1, the car that came to California from Florida. Nobody believed it would go 180 miles an hour, and they came by the thousands to see it.
That's right. You know, Steve, that original car, trailer and tow vehicle, cost less than $1,000 whenever I pulled into Bakersfield that year in 1959 with that car. And it was built on 31 Chevy frame rails that had an old engine in it out of a junkyard. Of course, that old engine was that Hemi that Chrysler had produced, and it was really the thing that got drag racing really going.
March 8th, 1970, Long Beach, California. A tragic accident. It certainly changed your life and the whole sport.
I was on the starting line at Long Beach in the final run, and the transmission exploded, and it took off half of my right foot. Well, I lay in the hospital in Long Beach, California for 8 weeks, and I vowed that I would do something about this problem. So I put together on paper this rear-engine car that I thought would work. Got out of the hospital, I built the car, I debuted it at the Winter Nationals. 71 at Pomona, won the event. And it was the first rear-engine car to ever qualify at a national event, much less win one. So it's my proudest achievement in the sport.
You know, we look at National Dragster at the record list, and we see that the all-time marks were set by Don Garlits in 1975 and still stand.
Well, that was probably the height of my career. Not to say that I won't do anything else, but to me, as I look back of all the things I ever did, that was the greatest, because I won the NHRA World Championships, set both ends of the record all in the same day. Both ends of the record were set on one run, and then the following day they were backed up while I won the race.
Big Daddy, stay with us another 25 years, will you?
Well, I don't know whether I'll be able to do that or not, but I'm certainly going to be around 4 or 5.
I believe it. Thank you.
A pocket camera for less than $20? Extra can do. The new Kodak Extra 1 camera is the lowest price Kodak pocket camera ever. Just aim and shoot. For clear, sharp pictures. For a few dollars more, you can get those clear, sharp pictures 2 ways. With a Tele Extra 1 camera. Hey, honey, without moving a step, it brings you twice as close to your subject. Get more pictures, more places, more often. With new Extra cameras. The can-do cameras from Kodak.
Clean, clean, clean. No, I tell you, I don't get no respect.
What's going on down there?
Well, it's me, Mobile. You know, detergent gasoline.
Oh, yeah, Mobile again. Now what?
No, I mean, I'm lonely.
Oh.
Well, you're up there in dreamland, and I'm down here in my detergents, ready to keep your carburetor clean so your car will run better.
Is it trouble, honey?
No, it's just the gas talking again.
Mobile, your detergent gasoline.
When you order a beer, do like Smoking Joe. Order light beer from Miller and say no more. It's got the third less calories than the regular beer. Light tastes great, y'all, but listen here. It's not the thing that makes me shout. Light's less filling, hey, that really knocks me out.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
When the people at Fram first told me that their pick as best engineered car at this Gator Nationals was a purple Henry J, I was a little dubious. Upon seeing it, I am amazed. A 1951 Henry J, the Henry J frame, a very rare single overhead cam Ford motor, and an absolute plumber's nightmare. Dry sump oil system, just too many things to even mention. I'm sure you can see just by looking at it that it truly deserves best engineered car of the event. It's owned by E.L. Williams of Redford, Michigan.
4 cars remain in each of the Pro Stock and Funny Car categories. Bob Glidden matches up against Warren Johnson, while Frank Iaconio meets Larry Lombardo driving for Bill Jenkins. In funny car eliminator, it is Dale Poldy against Don Prudhomme, while Billy Meyer goes against Gordy Bonnet. And here is 23-year-old Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas. Gordy Bonnet, his competition back frantically, the crew working on the car. There's something wrong. It has not yet started. Meyer's burnout is completed, and he's approaching the starting line. And it looks like Bonnet will not make the semifinals. The defending champion out of the race at the Gatornationals. Billy Meyer getting into tire shake, smoking the tires, just coasting through at 91 miles an hour. And a tough break for Edmonton, Alberta's Gordy Bonnet. Dale Poldy driving the War Eagle, and this could be the race of funny car eliminator against Don Prudhomme. Prudhomme, having lost the lane choice in the previous round, allows Dale Poldy to select the right-hand lane. Slow motion of Poldy's burnout as the tires growing in height, the smoke pouring off of them, burning the rubber, actually heat the tire to get the ultimate in traction. Prudhomme, having been plagued with some tire shaking problems. Nobody knows what causes it, but it will literally shake the car to pieces. And Poldy out alongside of Prudhomme. Prudhomme smoking the tires. Dale Poldy takes the win and advances to the finals. 6.37 seconds, 236 miles an hour. In slow motion, you see the snake losing the race right there. The car breaking traction, starting to drift a little towards the guardrail, and it's Dale Poldy in the finals. Pro Stock semifinal racing, Larry Lombardo driving Bill Grumpy Jenkins. Grumpy's toy, a Chevrolet Monza. The best of the Chevrolets thus far at this event has been the team of Iaconio and Allen in the near lane. Frank Iaconio, out together they go. Approaching the finish line, anybody's race. It's Frankie Iaconio, 8.68 seconds. In slow motion, you can see how close this race really is. They come into the first speed trap light, side by side. Frank Iaconio pulling it out by just about a half a car length. Warren Johnson, the Minnesota-based Chevrolet Pro Stocker against Bob Glidden. This is your classic Ford versus Chevrolet. Johnson's car powered by the big block Chevy engine, and a red light start. You saw him leave just before Glidden, and that was just enough to catch the big red eye, leaving the line too soon. Bob Glidden takes the win, 8.57 seconds at 156 miles an hour. It's time for the semifinals of Top Fuel Racing, and it's Big Daddy Don Garlits against the Canadian Graham Light. The low qualifier Kelly Brown has a tough race against Marvin Graham. Kelly Brown, Mr. Consistency thus far. He qualified at 6 seconds flat. First round, second round, both 6.00 second elapsed time. Marvin Graham, easing through the round before, relinquished the lane choice, gives it to Kelly Brown, hoping that he can make the horsepower necessary. Here in a dramatic close-up and special effects, we'll take a look at this staging procedure. You can see Marvin Graham's wheels already in that first light beam. Pre-stage light is lit in the left-hand lane for Marvin Graham. Here now comes the Brissett and Drake car, Kelly Brown driving. He comes into the first light beam. He is pre-stage. Both cars will now move forward another 3 to 4 inches and will pull into the staging beam. When they're both staged and set, that's the time Buster Couch, the starter, throws the switch. The Christmas tree goes green. Both cars leave the line. And to the finish line, 1,320 feet away, it's Kelly Brown with his third consecutive 6.0 second elapsed time, this time 6.06. Now, will the lane choice make a difference? We saw a moment ago that fine 6.07 by Graham Light. That gave him lane choice over Big Daddy Don Garlits. Light took the right-hand lane. We have found most of the lane choices have gone to the right-hand lane. Will it make a difference here? Only the finish line win lights will be the ultimate judge as Garlits against Light to determine who goes into the finals against Kelly Brown. A tremendous hole shot by Don Garlits. A little bit of smoke off of Graham Light's car. And it's Don Garlits, 6.21 seconds at 234 miles an hour. The matchup of the number 1 and 2 qualifiers in the finals. Let's go to Steve.
Going to go in. Excuse me, Billy. It looked like you were having a little trouble getting down that left-hand lane on the single.
He had lane choice, and on a single, I just wanted to see how much it would go, and I hit it really hard, and it just wouldn't take it. On a run, I'd have pedaled it, but, you know, then I would have lost a lot of ET, so I wanted to see if I could do it. It did the same thing Prudhomme did.
Go get him, Billy Meyer, in the finals in Funny Car Eliminator.
You look as though you could use some excitement, America. Something new, something fresh, something as fresh, as new, as exciting as the new Chevrolet Monte Carlo. The new Monte Carlo surrounds you with personal luxury, with quiet comfort, with a surprising amount of room. But most of all, it surrounds you with genuine driving pleasure. So come drive one and put a little distance between yourself and the crowd.
Where's a good place to save gasoline? Up here. After break-in, Uniflow motor oil from Exxon could deliver an average 16 extra miles from every tank full of gasoline. Down here, Exxon steel-belted radial tires can also save gasoline compared to non-radials. And right now, you'll find good values on both radial tires and Uniflow motor oil. A good place to save gasoline? Under here, during my gas-saving spring changeover.
Life insurance.
Daddy.
Oh, it's just like life insurance. I don't really get the picture there either.
We think you'll get it with Allstate Life Insurance because we believe in plain talk.
Let me spell it out for you.
You should understand life insurance, and Allstate can help you.
Now I get it.
Look.
Now explain that. Oh, it's
you.
When you want a clear picture of life insurance, Allstate wants to help.
That's a promise from us, the good hands people.
It's time for the finals of professional racing at the 9th annual NHRA Gatornationals. Let's join Steve Evans with the driver of this car.
Kelly Brown, this has got to be science fiction. A 5-year layoff, you go to Pomona with a brand new car, Jim Brissett, you'll win the event. Then you come here. It looks like you could win this one, too. Do you even believe it, Chad?
Well, I have to believe it because I'm still here and I'm very tired. We're very pleased, just like we were at Pomona, and we're moving right along, and neither one of us really understand it because we're racing guys that have been racing full-on pro racers, and we're very pleased about it. The car is running exceptionally well, and we'll just keep going.
The finals of Pro Stock Eliminator, the Ford Pinto of Bob Glidden, 13-time national event champion. The Chevrolet Monza of Frank Iaconio, 3 times before he's finished runner-up, has yet to win a national event. Some $12,000 riding on this race. And a red light start by Bob Glidden automatically will win to Frank Iaconio. Glidden drives it through the finish at 8.58 seconds, but in slow motion you see right there Glidden just perceptibly ahead of the green light. And that leaves the glowing red bulb, indicating a loss. Finals of Funny Car, Dale Poldy, the California-based War Eagle, against Billy Meyer. Waco Willie, they call him. He's only 23 years old, has been driving a funny car since he was 16. Poldy, at the age of 27, in drag racing more than a decade. A close race as they leave the line together. And it's Poldy at the finish by just a little over a car length, 6.42 seconds. His speed, 234 miles an hour. In slow motion, you see him pull away from Billy Meyer just at the finish. So Dale Poldy wins his first national event title, the beautiful War Eagle from Van Nuys, California.
Our funny car champion, Dale Poldy, trying to crawl out of his car. Get the breather mask off. I'm sure there's a big smile behind it somewhere in there. Boy, there is. You got to race about 10 years to do it, but Feels good.
I'm telling you, it really feels great. I just can't wait to call my family and everything, tell everybody about it.
Well, Meyer was right there.
Was he really? I don't even know. I just was hoping I never saw him.
It was only a tenth of a second, 6:42 to a 6:52.
Wow. I thought the car would have run better than that, too.
The race this crowd of Floridians has been waiting for. Don Garlits of Sefner, Florida, for the first time in a long time, coming in as an underdog in this final round against Kelly Brown. Brown, 35 years old, a stuntman and an actor from Tarzana, California, has recorded low elapsed time, 6 seconds flat, 6 seconds flat, 6.06 seconds. He has the lane choice. Will it make a difference? Garlits staging very carefully. Right alongside comes Kelly Brown. Both drivers just as cool as can be as they inch their cars into the staging beam, corralling some 2,000 horsepower apiece. The finals of the Gatornationals. And it's Don Garlits with a big lead. He smokes the tires, but an exploded engine. Trouble for Kelly Brown, and it's Don Garlits to the finish line, and the crowd loves it. 6.55 seconds was all his elapsed time, but that's more than enough to take the title in Top Fuel Eliminator, winning some $11,000 in cash and awards.
Big Daddy Don Garlits is still the king. An all-Donovan final. Kelly Brown broke a motor. Connecting rod broke and just stopped him right in his track.
I'll be darned. Well, you know, it smoked the tires. Mine did right at the line. I figured it was all over, but I couldn't see him anywhere, so I just stayed after it.
Well, Big Daddy's the king, but it's refreshing to see a nice fellow like Kelly Brown running so hard and giving you a race for your paycheck.
Yeah, Kelly's really a great guy. The whole team is nice. Of course, Brissett's been around for years, you know, one of the old guys, and we're really... And it's Donovan. We're excited about the whole thing.
Well, this is going to help on that march towards the World Championship that you want so bad this year.
Yes, it'll be a big help, Steve.
Congratulations to you and your wife, Pat, and we'll see you at the next race.
Steve and I will be back with a final look at the Gatornationals in just a moment. Let's get ready to blow her.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now comes Miller time. It takes as much skill to bring down a building as it does to put one up. And now's the time for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Here's what you made room for.
Miller Beer.
A poem about deodorants. Roll, roll the roll-on, all sticky and wet. Or spray your underarm. What a fog you'll get. So give me the stick. Old Spice deodorant stick. It goes right to the spot. All wet or foggy it's not. It guards against odor the whole day long. With Old Spice freshness, you cannot go wrong. So goodbye roll-on, so long spray. Old Spice stick, it's the only way.
Old Spice Stick.
Okay, big, great G. If National's going to be the best car rental company, we have got to hustle. Schultz, the last reservation call.
9 seconds, sir.
Walsh, relay service means...
Fast service, sir.
Willoughby, before we rent this new Chevy, we check all 10 items on the maintenance checklist. And then we sign it. Sir. Okay, team, let's go.
10,000 people working for you. The big green team.
Willoughby.
We're National Car.
For his closing thoughts, here again, Steve Evans.
Dave, I like the contrast, I think, in this event. 25-year-old Dale Pulley wins his first ever national title. 46-year-old Don Garlits wins his 17th national title. For Garlits, it was a bit of a lucky break. Pulley literally had to claw his way through eliminations. He had close races with Trip Shoemake, a close race with Billy Meyer, only a tenth of a second at the finish line with Billy Meyer, who incidentally gave Pulley a bottle of champagne in the turnout area just to congratulate him, one he had bought for himself. In Gainesville here, you'd have a hard time convincing the newspapers, the TV stations, the motel, or the merchants that they're not a contender to Indianapolis for the biggest car race in the world. They think this is just one fabulous event, and so do we.
Right you are, Steve, about Gainesville and the Gatornationals. This 9th annual event has seen an all-time record attendance. It was just 9 short years ago that some far-sighted Gainesvillians carved a racetrack out of some swampland. That racetrack has been improved and upgraded every year. Diamond P Sports' next stop on the championship drag racing trail will be the Cajun Nationals, a new event from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For Steve Evans, I'm Dave McClelland. Thanks for being with us. NHRA Gatornationals has been brought to you by Kodak, whose fine cameras and film help you save all your good times in pictures. And by Fram, makers of oil, air, and fuel filters, windshield wipers, and Autolite spark plugs and tune-up kits. Promotional consideration received and a fee paid by Whammo. It's a whole new ball game. Trackball by Whammo. The executive producer of Diamond P Sports, Harvey Palish, our producer-director, John Mullen. This has been an NHRA presentation, a Diamond P Sports production.